because he had a good game, and yeah, going for the Scotty build.
Oh, there's still Brood.
It's the greedy build.
Oh yeah, there's still Brood actually for Vichy Gaming. And Witch Doctor is not a good support at dealing with Brood at all.
No. At the moment, they don't really have that much to deal with the Brood, so Ice if he gets his hands on that. And there's another FY Rubik.
I mean, this is kind of expected, right? You don't ban it out in the second phase.
Yeah.
Vichy has, I think, almost all the games we've seen FY on Rubik during the main stage.
Siren.
That is quite interesting because it's hard to tell if it's going to be a core or support Naga. I think it's a bit early to call.
They run core a lot.
I think it's probably more or less core, I feel, because MVP Phoenix have been known to actually run. I mean, they're a Southeast Asian team, and most of the Southeast Asian teams would prefer to run her as a core.
Then my question is, if it is a core, why would you reveal the Naga already? Because it hasn't been banned last series, and they went for the same type of draft, like aggressive draft that doesn't fit at all another core.
I think it's because it's uncertain, right? It's easy for us to say, but
they're ready to switch it up.
Yeah, for them, maybe they are feeling we can still switch it up.
Okay.
And what's Vichy going to look for? If they want the Brood, do you think it's still the game for the Brood right now?
Sort of. If it creates space for the last pick, I could see a Brood working. If it is the core of the lineup, I don't think it fits so well.
The biggest problem with that is you might have trouble pushing high ground.
Yeah, definitely.
With the Brood, like Lina or Shaker Rubik, not your best high ground sieging lineup. And you want to end the game early versus Naga. You have to.
Yep.
Rubik actually 100% win rate so far still. One of the only ones left. 8-0.
So it is indeed the Broodmother. I feel like picking the Broodmother sort of forces them to not to run a Naga core.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to run a Naga core now. I mean, it's possible still, but it's very risky. But what other options do they have against Brood right now as a carry hero? If they run an X Queen of Pain lineup, I mean, the lineup doesn't feel that strong, and Vichy has the last pick, so they can actually just pick something that's really good late game.
Yeah, it's pretty tough because neither Co-op or Clockwork really matches well, which is the Broodmother in a 1-versus-1 situation. Even if you have sentries as Co-op, you can probably hold the lane first levels, but then at some point it gets harder. A Brood is going to get a lot of space.
Yep. I think it has to be Naga core. I mean, if they draft another like a core and put Naga on support, their late game is just going to be super weak, and they're still going to have trouble dealing with the Brood.
I agree as well. So they need a support that can actually deal with the Brood, a support that has AoE, like can clear the spiderlings. So far, I'm thinking Sand King, but their lineup seems weak with Sand King as well. It has synergy with the song, but I'm not sure how well it will work.
They could go for the Spirit Breaker again if they like it on position 4. It's a decent hero to have versus Brood as well.
Safe lane Storm maybe, but I mean then, I mean all their
options are just like
they're pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's not exactly good, but it's like we are trying to find a solution.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to find a hero that salvages the draft completely. But I feel like with the Naga core, they might get overrun early game. It's definitely their best late game option, but it's a bit scary. You're facing Brood Shaker. You can never assess that the Brood's gonna be by himself, and there's always that Shaker that stays behind with the Fisher or something like this. It's very hard to fight into.
Well, it looks like Vichy is expecting to be a core to still be picked up as they ban out the Bloodseeker.
Dazzle.
Oh, there's the Dazzle.
Okay, so we were actually right about it. It's going to be a Naga core coming from Phoenix. Dazzle plus Witch Doctor. I kind of feel like the Broodmother has a very good chance of just overrunning this lane when she gets her levels.
I think it's a very, very risky pick. Dazzle, obviously, a lot of synergy with the Naga, has laning potential at killing heroes, but against Brood, it's different.
I mean, if Brood is successful at gaining her levels, I think she can actually just destroy the lane.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the backup of a Shaker, Lina with the port, just whatever backup he gets from his teammates, and they're gonna completely destroy the safe lane of MVP Phoenix. And we also get a Co-op versus Lina matchup. That's not the best matchup at all.
Storm Spirit.
That's probably a Storm safe lane.
Yeah, I think this is going to be on How as well. I agree with you.
Tough game for MVP Phoenix. That's how I see it.
Okay, draft is over. It's time for game time in game number 2 as we head back down to the arena with Toby 1 and Synderen.
Thank you very much. Yes, let's welcome it back for game number 2. VG Gaming versus MVP. The draft is done, Sind, and it looks like VG Gaming are in a very comfortable position.
This Brood is going to be a really, really big problem. The moment MVP picked the Naga, I was like, okay, they're picking Brood. They actually took a lot of time to do it. I'm not sure if they were considering alternatives or if they just forgot about the Brood themselves and they were like, wait, we could get Brood, and they just immediately went for it. But this is the kind of game, just like, I can't remember if it was Winter or Matt who said it, but this is the game where Brood can just completely take over the game. If they do not shut down Ice here, this could end up being a very one-sided game, which would, of course, be a big shame. The last game was pretty close and very exciting. Generally, Brood has a tendency to sometimes just run over games and other games be fairly weak. I feel like it's pretty rare you see a Brood mother be like, okay. You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting to see here. Now, that said, if MVP get off to a good laning stage and they get a farmed Naga, I don't see VG having very good counters to the split push of the Naga either. They have the Storm that can pick her off, but if you just keep sending farmed illusions out, they don't have the best illusion clearing heroes. So that's the win condition for MVP. They have to go super late.
Let's see if they can do it. For me, I'm questioning if it is going to be possible on this bot lane. These 2 sentry wards which have been brought down by the Dazzle are going to be needed to keep Broodmother out, but it's Ice's Broodmother. He's got so much experience with his hero, and he sees things coming from a mile away, putting the webs over the jungle, and his micro is fantastic on the Spiderlings. He'll always see when an MVP player will rotate down. I'm very skeptical to see if Naga is capable of finding that farm, and then what farm does she go? Like, is this one of these games where you say, I need to have a Radiant split push? Is that what you have to look for from this core Naga?
Yeah. That question is how many build-up items he goes. These days, when you play Core Naga, you very, very rarely see Core Naga played without Radiance. It is possible to do a combat build with Man's Diffusal, but I would not advise it in this game. Most of the time we see Bottle, Aquila, or one of those two, and then into, I think a new trend has been getting Arcane Boots, because you can disassemble it later into Octarine Core. So maybe that build-up for
super.
Here could be a thing.
Take more aggression, but QO actually locked in here. He doesn't have a blink to get out of this one. And now, running around the corners, the first blood, it goes the way of Super. The paralyzing cast gave MVP more confidence to go on Super, because it bounced straight back up to the Lina and not to the creep wave, and that is not the start MVP needed. You have just given levels to a Lina mid.
Yeah, she's level 2.5 against the level 1.5 duo, so a full level advantage. Of course, there are... Actually, no, there are not more creeps for Kuro to claim here. So this is a full level advantage, more or less, for Super. Not the start they needed.
No, they needed to have a nice, comfortable laning phase. Lina being low on farm. Even Ice, so he's not level 2. But slowly and surely he's going to find these levels. A big creep wave went down for KP underneath the tower. He's doing a good job of finding a lot of the last hits down there too. Meanwhile on top lane, we have to keep in mind this Clockwork, a really great initiator, a great rotation hero. If you're looking for someone that can gank up the Brood, he'll be one of them. A hook shot in with Dust. QO again, he'll blink himself away, but that Fissure, the Earthshaker, always there at the right time to cause issues for this Queen of Pain. And March, don't get too close on that. But at least he knows the Earthshaker's not going to harass him out. In fact, we're just watching Fenrir decide to stack up inside the Dire jungle. They're getting prepared to also flash farm up the Lina.
This is a very, we're 2 minutes in, but it's a worrying situation for MVP because they don't have very good aggressive ganking supports. Dazzle and Witch Doctor together have pretty minimal kill potential, so I think the Lina mid for Super is going to feel very safe and very confident in playing aggressively, especially when Fenrir backs him up. That means we could be looking at a situation where Vici Gaming could be winning all 3 lanes simply because Hal will definitely win top against Clockwork. It's a very easy matchup for the Storm Spirit. The mid lane is going splendidly for them. And the bottom lane, currently the Naga is of course out farming the Brood right here in the start, but Ice is finding levels. That's what it's all about in the beginning for Brood. Find your level 5, that's when your lane really starts snowballing for you. The good news for Naga is of course she has 8 armor. That is very, very valuable against this hero.
So Ice won't be just out to harass her down, but as you said, Ice is just waiting for his levels, moving up, and then we'll pick up something on the lines of having that Soul Ring. He's already got the recipe in his inventory. And once he's picked up that Soul Ring... Wow, are they going again? Able to salve up. Not much in the neighborhood, but... Super... You can't keep letting this happen. Because you're sitting at a point right now as Alina where the level 6 is rapidly approaching. So you drop down low like this and you're Laguna to death. The status quo will not remain this way.
Look at how far up he's playing. He's playing 1-on-2. Now the Shaker rotates in, but until then,
Super shots, Light Strike Array, QO! Barely blinking away in time. A little bit of harassment on Super. And that cast can keep bouncing all at once. Super's still got bottle charges, and with the slave QO, down to 17 life.
If he hadn't missed that uphill attack, he didn't miss, right?
No, I'm fairly certain they're connected.
His attack connected?
Yeah.
Okay. Because also that, if that was a miss, it would have been a kill for sure. It's like 15 health on the Queen of Pain once again. So she's forced back to base. This is a very difficult laning stage for QO, a player who we've seen generally in MVP's games do very, very well in lane. Last game with the Slark, he played up evenly against Alina. We saw him against VP yesterday, I think it was, with the incredible TA performance. Was that the VP series? No, that was against Empire 2 days ago, I think, where his Templar assassin was incredible. But he is really far behind, and this is a different game situation than what he's used to.
It really is. And the hope still rests with the Naga Siren. Ice actually helped that a little bit. Naga's now on top of the CS board. So that's only because he keeps getting this Riptide on the little broodlings that are walking close. So KP's getting some extra cash into a Naga, a very dangerous situation for VG. But FY, I can't get in range for the lift over on March. So he'll walk away to safety. How's the stacks looking? So there's triple stacks inside the jungle for the Lina. And she can move up and farm that in just a couple of moments' time. The Fissure looking for the block. The Light Strike Array again, QO. Wow. He's living life on the edge.
A quarter of a second every time from dying. That also means it's a little bit of missed timing from VG Gaming, actually, because that combo isn't too difficult to land. It's a 1-second stun. Of course, they need to try to conceal it as the best they can with Super not going in way too aggressively, but they're probably a little bit disappointed they haven't killed this quad more than once, because they've had a chance or two.
But what they have done is just keep the CS at absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
You're 11-4 up against a Lina 26-6. That's a lot to play around with right there for the Lina. And QO, he's just so scared of coming close to the lane. And rightly so. He keeps dying when he does. Or at least coming close to dying. Looks like March is moving all the way back too. That creep wave's way too far out. So he's backing up to regenerate. But there's no quick way in. There's no hook shot yet. He's still just shy of level 4.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ice is level 6.5. It's a big experience and gold advantage.
Is he coming down for this kill? If he hangs on the back of KP here, Spawn Spiraling's going to stick another 5 seconds, so we won't find the opening there.
This lane is over if it's 1-on-1. This is what I was saying. They could win all 3 lanes, and I'm saying that as the Naga has 46 CS against the 22 of Ice. But he can out-farm the Naga. He can spam her out of lane, he can farm the jungle with the Broodlings, and it's a pretty rough spot for MVP. They're probably going to have to keep at least one support pinned down there just to help the Naga Siren.
But QO seems to be needing all the support with Fenrir and Super with this combo. Even if they're not finding the kills, they're keeping MVP's attention towards that mid lane. And there's no real reaction that you can have from MVP that's going to really stop Brood, because if you move down for him, all he's going to do is just hide in the tree line. Or move into the Radiant jungle. He'll always be away. QO again, blinking out. Nuts comes in with a cask. It's going to bounce a little bit, but really QO, he's at a point where he's actually relying on Voodoo Restoration, so he doesn't have to burn the bottle charges he's got. Just so he can stand in the lane. At least he can find CS underneath his tower. With Super having a double damage rune and Laguna Blade up. It's a dangerous